Hey guys, it's me Chan again. So today's video we will do the preparation guide for Yumemizuki Mizuki. She will be a standard character, they already state in here. Basically in the next version she will become part of the standard character like in the wish itself though. So as usual in here I will cover about the material, talking about the kit, is she good or not, and of course we'll talk also about the build team, something like that. So yeah, let's get started. As usual in here, I will read the first sentence of the character itself, so kind of know what the dev want to do with this character. So basically, they already add in here right now, so they make even more clear. So they say Mizuki is real DPS with on-field killing. So they state further in here, Yumemizuki is a character who increase damage by swirl reaction, and on-field animal character will possess certain healing abilities. So yeah, that's pretty much like DPS. They want to make her as a on-field DPS that focus on swirl with the healing capabilities. That's actually interesting from their takes. As for Mizuki material, you can take a look in here. Basically, this is all already existing material and I just show everything in the total of the material itself. And now let's start the kit, and let's start with the normal attack and charge attack. Basically, there's nothing in here. It just always catalogous has unique animations. So yeah, see, this is quite cute. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And this is for her elemental skill. So basically, they show first about the traversal ability. So similar kind of Scaramouche, but mostly focus on horizontal. But you still can float, and I think it's pretty good too, like alternative of Scaramouche itself, or maybe like Shaska, where I think this is more restrictive. But yeah, I think it's still pretty good though, especially for standard character that has traversal ability. I think this is pretty nice too. And now for the real deal, the actually elemental skill for the combat itself, it's called Aisaka Utamakura Pilgrimage. So basically in here, whenever you press the elemental skill, she will deal the AoE anemo damage to the, of course, the opponent itself with the regular interval. So basically, you press the skill, you can just move around, the swirl just attack automatically with the interval. So quite similar like Lynette itself skill, but instead this is for the on-field. So yeah, the only thing that you do is just move around, it just auto attack. And the scaling, if you wonder, the damage will be stronger based on elemental masteries. As for Mizuki passive, is actually both on the skill. So the first one is basically just like increase the duration of the skill. Whenever you trigger swirl, it's just automatically will trigger, so you don't need to think. And second is that whenever like in your team itself dealing pyro, hydro, cryo, and electro attack to the enemy itself, it will increase Mizuki elemental mastery by 100 for 4 seconds. So in natural too, we want to pair Mizuki with another element, right? So this both passive will just automatically will trigger. So yeah, just keep reminder that mostly in Mizuki centered with elemental mastery. And as for Mizuki elemental burst, in here she will pull the enemy, but they didn't really show the pulling. They used the wrong monster, I can say, and it will dealing AoE damage to the enemy itself, and it will summon the mini Baku. See, this is the mini Baku. So this mini Baku actually has two different effects. So let's say if your HP is more than 70%, then she will deal anemo damage to the enemy if you pick up the snack. So you have to pick up to get this effect. Otherwise, if your HP is below than 70% and you pick up the snack, you will get heal in here. So you can take a look in here. Below 70%, right? Pick up, get heal. And afterward, just pick up only damage. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Very straightforward. So the one that you all just want to remember, if your HP is below 70%, you pick up the snack, it will heal you. But if you have more than 70%, it will, when you pick up the snack, it will hit to the enemy with the anemo damage. And that's basically it. And for the elemental burst scale, it will also scale on elemental mastery. So Mizuki itself is typical character that full scale of elemental mastery. It's not dual scaling, it's just full elemental mastery. But yeah, that's basically it regarding Mizuki Kit. She's very straightforward and very simple character. Maybe because she is standard, so they just make very simple. So yeah, she is mostly like character that on field mostly dealing swirl damage, but not support like Kazuha and Sucrose. This is mostly the swirl that deal damage. So similar case like Xiao or even Lynette, it's not to support, but it's more for personal damage. So yeah, because of that, like she is mostly we want to use as a DPS on-field character. Whether you want to use like main DPS or sub DPS, it can work in here. But the main deal in here, maybe some of you question like how good is actually Mizuki, because she is standard, right? So is she actually bad? It will be like Dehya Disaster or like another Citrine, something like that. And what I can say in here, it's hard if I didn't see the number from the beta, but I believe right now people already showed the early access, so I can just talk about it. It's not a secret anymore. But yeah, in general, Mizuki, if you just think her as a standard character, then she actually fine, decent, nothing crazy, but I think it's acceptable as a standard if you of course expect her as a standard character. And the one I want to mention here, she absolutely already better than Dehya when Dehya was released. On her release, she's pretty much just another decent sub DPS, main DPS that focus on swirl. That's pretty much it. The one that I want to say, she even also feels better than Citrine, because at least she has something to do than more just like healing, because she heal and deal damage too. Citrine is only pure healing. Her buff is basically nothing. So in here, Mizuki alone already better than limited character. So yeah, in general, if you just think her as a standard character, then she is pretty much decent. And yeah, in here, mostly we want to play her in the quick swap type of team, because she's basically like DPS that we can say like, of course, need on field, but it's not justified enough to become like the main carrier, like let's say a Mawika or like, you know. So because of that, we cannot just heavily rely on her. And in here, we mostly want to play Mizuki in the quick swap, just because she's a typical character that she still need on field. Like it's very hard for you to just make as a pure like, okay, put skill and out, because her skill on like this, you need to move around. You cannot switch. If you switch, it gone. The skill is gone. And her bursts also require a little bit often, so she's like technically corrected that need on field. So that's why it's better for you to play in the quick swap. Just better to treat her as a on-field sub DPS, which is make her quite unique actually in the position. Like not typically like sub DPS like Xiangling Yelan, where we just use the skill and out. In here is kind of different. We use her only for a while, and after that we switch. So yeah, it's kind of something unique, I can say. She is kind of like inspirational, like Lynette, but on field. And regarding like Mizuki downside that I feel like it's a little bit dragging about her kit is that she feel like typical character that actually will be better that she has like off-field capability. Like it's fine doesn't have any support, but at least like you have option to just switch in and they will have like damage. One of the example in here, the skill is basically when you press the skill, the only thing you do is just move around and just watching they do auto attack. It feels such a waste. It's actually good if you just like basically just Lynette, where you just drop out the skill in here, you can just switch and it just like auto attack. I think it's more efficient. It will unlock her more into different team comp, so you can use her both like in quick swap and also like as a like off-fielder like sub DPS. So it feels kind of a little bit waste, so kind of like hanging, because she need like her like on-field a little bit in here. She become like quite limited, which make her rotation kind of awkward. Like you can put, let's say, in our like Kino team with like Fabrise, but it will be a lot more awkward compared to just use Kazuha and Sucrose. So yeah, because of it, she feels just very hanging. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate in here, but what we can like expect, she's just standard character. That's why I say if you just expect her as a standard character, then she actually decent and fine. But if you really think like limited, oh man, she is not in that level. Now let's talk about the build for Yumemizuki Mizuki, and let's start first with the 5-star weapon. Of course, the best 5-star weapon will be her signature, Sunny Morning Slip In. Whatever it is, that will be the best. Another things that you can try, which is Nahida's signature weapon, 1000 Floating Dreams. This is still good. Give EM, which is what Mizuki scales up, and also it will give extra EM to the whole party, which is still pretty much nice. Another thing that you can try, which is Star Color Watch. This is the Citlali signature weapon. It gives EM, which is good, and also will give extra EM in here in the sub effect. But yeah, of course, she cannot utilize the buff itself because Mizuki cannot create shield, so yeah, quite unfortunate in here. As for the 4-star weapon and below, she can equip couple of the weapon. If you just care about EM, then you can go with Sacrificial Fragment because Sacrificial Fragment gives you quite high EM compared to other 4-star. The effects kinda hit or miss. Sometimes you want to use twice, sometimes you don't, depends on the teams, but most of the case you will rarely want to do twice because she kinda takes so much time on the skill itself too. So yeah, the effect is not the one that we want. This is mostly if you care about the EM that you want to stack, then yeah, go with Sacrificial Fragment. I think this is the best. However, if you just want the one that's accessible for free to play, then you can go with Mapamare because you can just craft this and then it gives you EM, not as much as this one, but at least it's accessible, and also it gives you kinda a little bit boost damage too, so which is quite good. And I think that you can go, which is only from the gacha, which is the Wandering Event Star. If you have that mostly a kinda like a balanced weapon where it gives you EM, so mostly for Mizuki too, but also kinda buff to the party too, so which is kinda like balance in the between. If you have that, you can equip. If you have higher refinement, that's even better. And for the 3-star option that you can go with Magic Guide, especially if you play with the electro related or taser, something that you can equip this. This is still pretty much okay, especially this is quite accessible too because you don't even need to craft. Mostly if you do gacha, you can get even until R5, so this one can be a good option too. If you just want to make your Mizuki kinda support type, then you can go with the traditional Favonius Codex you can use because it gives you energy recharge and it will give energy particle to the team, so which is still pretty much nice to give more like energy to whole team. And of course classic TTDS if you just care about like swirl and use the VV and just switch up to another character, like how you use like Sucrose Kazuha, although it's not optimal but it still can work, then yeah, you can equip also TTDS or Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers. For the artifact set, there's a couple of them to equip, but mainly she just want to use just classic 4-piece of Verdicent Banner because 2-piece will give you anemo damage, beneficial for Mizuki, and 4-piece is good whenever you do swirl, it will give shred to the enemy itself, which is that pretty much nice for the whole team, so this is too good for you to not use. However, maybe you put in the team that double anemo and someone already used this 4-piece of Fairy Descent, then you can use just classic. Also that elemental reaction related, which is Gilded Dreams, give you EM, that's also pretty much nice. And whatever, if you trigger like reaction, it will give like either attack or even like elemental mastery increase, which is still nice for Mizuki. But in general, we mostly want to just go with Verdicent Banner. For the main set for Mizuki, it's also very straightforward. It's basically triple EM, so on sense will be EM, but of course if you feel that you still lack of ER, then you can just equip ER. But other than that, mostly we just want to go with EM, and also for the Goblet will be Elemental Mastery or EM2, and also Circuit will be Elemental Mastery, so that's why I say it's triple EM. For the subset for Mizuki, the main priority will be Energy Recharge and Elemental Mastery, and crit rate and crit damage also will be nice too. For the team comp for Mizuki, there's a couple of them, but take notes, not all of them. The one that I recommend here will be the best. Some of them just pretty much for fun, but I will start with the one I can say the best one in general, or I can say at least it's very good in general, which is Mizuki in Taser. So the one that we want to play in here is Quick Swap, so at least Mizuki can have a little bit on field and other like character doesn't have so much on field too, so we kinda just keep swapping in here, pretty much quite good. Just pretend of course landing is Mizuki, okay? So Mizuki, Visual, if you don't want to use Visual, you can use EI in here if you want, and the third slot is Auroron, but if you want to change, let's say like Raiden, or you want to put like EI, it can work. But the reason why I prefer to put Auroron here just because the Senior City buff is just too good, so because of that I prefer Auroron. So if you have that, try to put Auroron in here. And the last slot is I put Furina, just because if you remember, like Mizuki can heal, right? So at least you can get stacked, so it's not so much like contradict, it will pretty much still can work. So yeah, you can also get buff in here and quite good damage from the summon from the Furina itself. So yeah, in general, this will make a quite good Taser team with Mizuki in here. But of course, if you want more defensive, then you can put Kokomi, like traditional typical like Taser, it still can works. And other things, if you want to use your Mizuki as a like support of Swirl, it still can work, like how you use basically like Kazuha or Sucrose. Yes, you can use one of the sample like in Vaporize in here. You can put like Arlecchino or even like Diluc. It still can work. And as for the Hydro in here, you can change even with Shincho, it still can work. But take notes, don't expect the rotation will be as smooth as Sucrose or Kazuha, just because Mizuki still need a little bit on field, so it's a little bit awkward. But if you accept that, then yes, this still can work. Next time you can try is Mizuki in Aggravate. So in here you can put Yai. If you don't want to use Yai, you can also put Raiden to make more main DPS. Visual also can work. And in here Nahida if you have, but if you don't have, you can just put like basically the Endor Traveler. But right now I'm still in Pyro, but you can just keep changing into Dendro, right? And then yeah, if you have Emily, it still can work, although it's not super optimized. So that's why I still prefer for you to put Nahida. And then here the third slot is Auroron, just because we want to utilize the buff from Cinder City. It's just too good. But if you don't have Auroron or don't want to use Auroron, of course you can just put like Fischl, it still can work, or Raiden, it can work, and even Cookie, it still can work. And the last one, of course, is Mizuki. And lastly, you can just play like for fun in Mizuki in Burning, which is you can put Mizuki in here. I prefer to have like Emily, but I don't have Emily, so you can use Nahida if you don't have Emily. But the best one, of course, is Emily, and you can just put Xiangling and Bennett, it also can work. So yeah, that's pretty much it regarding Mizuki overview in here. I think in general, she's alright, like standard character. I think she's just a fey whatever character, like fairy filler character. Mostly people want to get her or use her just because maybe you like this character, but other than that, I don't think she will contribute much. Yeah, she has a little bit new team coming, like Taser, it bring a little bit new stuff, but nothing really like we can say amazing. And I already say even like rotation kind of awkward, because the one that you can only do like moving around like this, which I don't know, I don't think this gameplay is fun. It's very uninteresting. You just move around like this and you just like do the auto attack, you don't even do anything. But yeah, that's why I say mostly people want to use her. But yeah, in the end of the day, I think for her design, I really like her design. But yeah, other than that, she just feels very whatever, like literally a standard character that meant for to be standard in terms of power and everything. I think maybe However's quite spot on. I don't know, it's good or bad, it's really back on you. So yeah, pretty much that's it. If you like this video, feel free to hit super button and like, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.